The Hindus say Nada Brahma, one translation of which is the world is sound. And in a way that's true because everything is vibrating. In fact, all of you, as you sit here right now, are vibrating. Every part of your body is vibrating at different frequencies. So you are, in fact, a chord, each of you an individual chord. One definition of health may be that that chord is in complete harmony. Your ears can't hear that chord. They can actually hear amazing things. Your ears can hear 10 octaves. Incidentally, we see just 1 octave. Your ears are always on. You have no earlids. They work even when you sleep. The smallest sound you can perceive moves your eardrum just 4 atomic diameters. The loudest sound you can hear is 1 trillion times more powerful than that. Ears are made not for hearing, but for listening. Listening is an active skill, whereas hearing is passive. Listening is something that we have to work at. It's a relationship with sound, and yet it's a skill that none of us are taught. The trouble with listening is that so much of what we hear is noise surrounding us all the time. Noise like this, according to the European Union, is reducing the health and the quality of life of 25% of the population of Europe. 2% of the population of Europe, that's 16 million people, are having their sleep devastated by noise like that. Noise kills 200,000 people a year in Europe. Let's move away from bad sound and look at some friends that I urge you to seek out. WWB, wind, water, birds. Stochastic natural sound composed of lots of individual random events, all of it very healthy, all of it sound that we've evolved to over the years. Seek those sounds out, they're good for you. And so is this. Silence is beautiful. The Elizabethans described language as decorated silence. I urge you to move away from silence with intention and to design soundscapes just like works of art. Have a foreground, a background, all in beautiful proportion. It's fun to get into designing with sound. If you can't do it yourself, get a professional to do it for you. Sound design is the future, and I think it's the way we're going to change the world, the way the world sounds.
EsionX spent 8 years engaging the Monaco government to review the noise impact of construction work on the environment, and in January 2019 a new law to silence construction works was introduced. Minister of Public Works, Environmental Protection and Development in Monaco in January 2019, established a new law on local regulations regarding environmental noise and /or noise limits for specific sources or other noise reduction measures. The government's policy on noise in Monaco aims to ensure a coherent and coordinated approach to noise reduction activities throughout the community, objectives to be strengthened and adapted to the achievement of an ecological approach. EsionX is the only company in Monaco that has developed the solution to the arguably the biggest pollution, which is noise.
EsionX makes a positive contribution to local communities through the green and quiet environment and minimization of water waste while protecting craftsmanship. The hidden ways that architecture affects how you feel. We shape our buildings and afterwards our buildings shape us, mused Winston Churchill in 1943 while considering the repair of the bomb-ravaged House of Commons. Today, thanks to environmental expert Edith Derlon's psychological studies, we have a much better idea of the kind of urban environments that people like or find stimulating. We suggest sound-absorbing green walls covered with artificial grass, due to water protection. We now know, for example, that buildings and cities can affect our mood and well-being, and that specialized cells in the hippocampal region of our brains are attuned to the geometry and arrangement of the spaces we inhabit. Urban metropolises, like Monaco, London, New York juggle layout design, access to greenery, and visual appeal, all of which have psychological effects on residents. When we ask people about their stress they say it's no big deal, yet when we measure their physiology we discover that their responses are off the charts. The difficulty is that your physiological state is the one that impacts your health. Taking a closer look at these physiological states could shed light on how city design affects our bodies. One of Derlon's most consistent findings is that people are strongly affected by building facades. If the facade is complex and interesting, it affects people in a positive way, negatively if it is simple and monotonous. Another oft-replicated finding is that having access to green space such as woodland or a park can offset some of the stress of city living. Urban living can change brain biology in some people. Greenery can provide uplifting and calming effects on people whilst having a positive impact on stress-related illnesses. Studies have shown that simply having a view of greenery increases workplace productivity. Urbanized areas have a higher average temperature than surrounding countryside. Increasing vegetation in city hotspots or urban canyons provides canopy cooling of trapped air and reduces reflected heat. Tests have shown temperature differences of up to 17 C between hard and vegetated surfaces in the same location. The noise-reducing earth walls are covered with a plant that captures CO2 and then releases oxygen as a waste product. Earth's walls reduce noise that adapt to climate change. Vegetation growing on or on a vertical surface, protecting human health and the earth by creating the quiet environment as well as supporting oxygen production. Innovative solutions supporting our silence. Silent retreat. The quietest green wall ever made. It creates a wonderful environment that attracts every person in a luxurious environment. Offers a physical and built environment that encourages, enables and supports health, recreation and well-being, safety, social interaction, accessibility and mobility, and a sense of pride and cultural identity, and is responsive to the needs of all its citizens. The quietest green wall ever created. It is a product of Monaco because the idea originated in the principality. The green wall is the princess of silence for the earth. It is produced all over Europe. It creates a wonderful environment that attracts every person in a luxurious setting. It offers a quiet and green environment that encourages, enables and supports health, recreation, and well-being, security, social interaction, as well as a sense of pride and cultural identity, and responds to the needs of all citizens. Noise-reducing green walls have been tested by the Monaco government and have been awarded a noise reduction certificate of 73.03 decibels. The walls are made of metal, acoustic foam, and rubber. It contains a combination of absorbing and reflecting acoustic screens. It creates aesthetic cities that reduce noise, which combines aesthetics, safety, and functionality. The aesthetic value. The need for aesthetic is one of the basic human needs, utilitarian, symbolic, aesthetic, where its job is to satisfy the individual's psychological requirements to enjoy the present. Accordingly, the beauty can be defined as the individual's sensual value to the things, which achieve delight by the interaction of psychological sensory abilities with, by this pleasure and enjoy. It gives the psychology of self-value its existence. The aesthetic value of the city is one of the most important elements of its urban identity, which distinguishes it from other cities. Cities had made in their growth stages the different ingredients of beauty. According to the Southern Nevada Water Authority, 1 square foot of artificial grass can save up to 55 gallons of water in 1 year. The greenery created by artificial grass has a positive effect on our well-being, and our well-being makes us want to give something back for the earth. Using artificial grass, every citizen can save water by saving millions of gallons of water every year. Consider the following benefits. By using our solutions, over 2.2 billion gallons of water were saved. American schools, parks and professional sports stadiums. A typical 1,800 square meters lawn may require 56,000 gallons of water for maintenance. Offered to residents and corporate users by an increasing number of local governments in light has a huge impact on water protection. Artificial grass is an intelligent solution for beautifying public spaces and saving water resources.
La pollution sonore peut être causée par la circulation ou par les chantiers en cours. Sur l'asphalte, tout d'abord, afin de réduire en grande partie les nuisances provoquées, voici quelques exemples concrets. Le revêtement, il existe aujourd'hui un type dit anti-bruit, la présence de ralentisseurs pour limiter la vitesse sur certaines portions, la création d'axes principaux en souterrain, l'utilisation de véhicules hybrides ou électriques et l'absence de poids lourds la nuit. En ce qui concerne les travaux, le gouvernement multiplie les actions. En 2011, une circulaire a été diffusée aux acteurs de la construction afin d'intégrer la problématique du bruit. Elle prévoit notamment la réalisation préalable d'une étude sur le bruit. Autre illustration, un type de mur très perfectionné.
Ce projet est né ici à Monaco car il est destiné à atténuer les nuisances sonores qui sont ressenties par les résidents. L'idée est de renforcer la qualité de vie. Ces murs peuvent être utilisés lors de travaux de construction. Placés sur les côtés, ils peuvent ainsi permettre de moins entendre les bruits provoqués par les machines.
Ces structures sont ainsi devenues des exemples innovants qui assurent une isolation certaine.
Je ne peux pas dire que ça a été difficile de les concevoir car il s'agit de mon idée, de mon brevet, mais il a fallu bien sûr trouver des composants acoustiques pointus et les végétaux varient selon les projets, ils peuvent être naturels ou artificiels. Ils sont fabriqués en Suède mais assemblés ici, à Monaco où ils sont montés et comme l'idée est née ici, il s'agit de produits monégasques.
Sachez enfin que dans le cadre de l'Observatoire du bruit, la direction de l'environnement met à votre disposition les rapports mensuels des mesures de bruit effectuées en différents points du territoire. Nous sommes au pied de l'avenue d'Ostende, non loin du rond-point Sainte-Dévote. Les travaux réalisés impliquent la voirie, tout comme dans nos reportages précédents, rue Louis-Notary et du côté du Portier. Tout est entrepris afin de réduire et de limiter la pollution sonore avec ces écrans anti-bruit qui encadrent la zone.
Concrètement, il repose sur la réfection, c'est-à-dire le changement du réseau d'assainissement pluvial et égout en fait. Donc il y a deux réseaux importants. Certains systèmes ont été mis en place. Avec l'aménagement urbain, on a essayé de travailler en amont par rapport à ça, de mettre en place ces systèmes, on les voit, ils sont derrière moi, ces systèmes de protection en fait, qui répondent à deux contraintes, à deux problématiques. La contrainte visuelle, c'est-à-dire de séparer visuellement le chantier de la partie piéton, et la contrainte ensuite acoustique, c'est celle-là qui est très importante, c'est-à-dire de réduire les émissions de bruit en fait. Par rapport aux gens, aux riverains, aux piétons, etc. Voilà.
Débutés il y a 3 mois, ces travaux concernent toute l'avenue d'Ostende et vont être réalisés par phase, petit à petit.
On s'en est servi comme chantier test et dès le mois de juillet, on a mis en place des panneaux qui ont 3 fonctions. La première fonction, c'est justement de réduire le bruit, puisqu'on arrive à des réductions de bruit jusqu'à 15 décibels. La deuxième fonction, c'est un aspect visuel, puisque c'est des panneaux qui sont relativement jolis. Et la troisième fonction, ça permet aussi de protéger les passants et les véhicules qui passent à proximité contre tout ce qui est projection de matériaux ou autre. On a eu plusieurs échanges avec l'ensemble des professionnels du secteur et on a travaillé pas mal en amont pour essayer de trouver une solution qui soit pertinente et dans la protection du bruit. Et aussi, il faut trouver des solutions qui permettent de ne pas trop ralentir les chantiers.
Les arrêtés ministériels concernant le bruit et les horaires ont été publiés le 7 décembre et le directeur de l'aménagement urbain l'évoquait dans le premier volet de notre série. Ils visent à fixer des bases réglementaires renforcées pour répondre, entre autres, aux attentes des résidents.
Our environment, the world in which we live and work, is a mirror of our attitudes and expectations. Even if you decide not to use it, it will be there in case you need it. EsionX.